Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell joins us each month to address issues that she and her office are focused on. And tonight, we'll touch on a law that is intended to prohibit the hindering of First Amendment rights and another state law that requires that weapons seized by law enforcement be sold to the public. We welcome Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell to Arizona Horizon. Good to see you again. Thanks.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All right. I know that this is in litigation, so I know there's only certain things that you can say about it. But this anti-SLAPP law that you've got problems with, can you tell us as much as you can your problems and what this case is all about?
Sure. Basically, this surrounds the incidents where there were pro-Palestinian protesters at ASU, and some of them are being prosecuted, so they have invoked this law. Our concern with the law is it's unique to prosecutors in this state. It's not applied to other, in other states to prosecutors. And our concern is not about the First Amendment as it's being portrayed. It's really about a separation of powers issue where you have the judiciary delving into the mindset, motivations, et cetera, of the executive branch, which is the prosecutor.
So the judges can say that the case is dismissed, you say, over your objections, over your thoughts, your plans?
If they can look at it and determine whether there is, political motivation. And, this is an area that our office has been involved in the past with the protest cases from 2020. And that was a situation where I, as a prosecutor, before I was county attorney, actually raised concerns about the way those cases were being handled. So to suggest that this is being done for political motivation is, not true.
And the violation of the Bill of Rights, First Amendment?
We fully support people's ability to protest legally within Arizona, and I have reaffirmed that message different times throughout my tenure as county attorney.
Okay, and I know you can't respond too much to what the Tempe Justice Court basically said, was that the charges were substantially motivated by a wish to suppress or retaliate. That is what the law is all about, to keep prosecution from happening to those who are protesting in the ways that maybe the prosecution doesn't like it. Make any sense to you?
Not in this particular case. I mean, as a prosecutor, I abhor it when other prosecutors say, I'm going to guarantee this result or target this person. I don't do that as a prosecutor. I call balls and I call strikes as a prosecutor. I file against people who you would think I would have an affinity for. I file against them that I maybe don't agree with them.
Last question on this. You might have to testify.
That's true.
Yeah, it seems unusual, a prosecutor, a county attorney testifying.
First in the nation, is my understanding, in this type of situation.
All right. Do we have a timetable for this at all? Do we know when this is?
We are in front of a Superior Court judge, and the next hearing that he's going to hold is not this Friday, but next Friday, the November 7th.
Okay, so things are happening there. Another state law that you're concerned with is this 2013, it's been that long now, the state law, it's the ban on destroying weapons that are used in crimes seized by law enforcement. Not only a ban on destroying them, but they must be resold to the public. Talk to us about why you think this needs to be reconsidered.
Well, I'm very pro Second Amendment rights, but there's a very specific situation that's come up that probably was never considered when this statute was passed back in 2013. And that is the case of Officer Erfle. He was killed in the line of duty. He was shot. And this gun, of course, was seized as part of that investigation. And Julie Erfle, his widow, has said, I don't want the gun that killed my husband back out in the public, sold in the public. And so in this situation, I've offered my services as county attorney to her and said, I'll stand beside you to get an exception written into this law.
What under the claim would be what?
The claim would be if a gun is used to murder someone or possibly harm someone if they're shot with it, that would be an exception if the victim or next of kin wanted that gun destroyed.
I was going to say, the Victims' Bill of Rights provisions play it here?
Yes, absolutely. I think that would come into play. I mean, if you can imagine a loved one being killed by a gun and then that gun just being sold, that's a travesty as far as I'm concerned.
And we should mention that the Officer Erfele was shot in 2007 now, so long ago. And Julie Erfele has been out there time and time again campaigning for various gun control issues. Is this the kind of thing that you're going to go strong on?
On this particular exception, yes. I support her not wanting the gun that killed her husband sold out in the public. That gun should be destroyed.
Is there a way to, so basically delineate murder,
Possibly murder. We're talking to the legislature already about whether we're going to carve out an exception for simply murder, possibly if an individual is injured by the gun, making it a victim's rights issue. This wouldn't be for any gun seized as the result of a criminal investigation.
Right. Okay. All right. Before you go, update on the Preston Lord case. What's happening here as far as prosecution, as far as trials are concerned, as far as the law that was passed because of the Preston Lord case and prosecution thereof?
Well, as you know, we indicted 7 individuals for the death of Preston Lord. One of them has pled out. The other 6 are pending trial. That trial is at least tentatively set for January. That may get continued. But Preston Lord's law, which targets people who gang up on an individual, so if 3 or more people target an individual for a beating, that is called anti-swarming legislation. It makes it a felony. We have now charged at least 4 cases of that ever since the law went into effect, and that was only September 26th. So we're just about a month into that, and we have 4 cases so far that we've charged.
And you've charged these 4 cases. If that law were not in effect, what would these be, misdemeanors? What would happen here?
That's possible. There could be other felonies involved, but there was one in Mesa involving adult defendants, and the prosecutor said that had this law not existed, that case would have gone to city court for misdemeanor prosecution. And as I said at the time we were going for the law, that just does not reflect the seriousness of this behavior. Obviously, Preston died.
As for the half dozen people that will be on trial for that murder, and everything that has happened beforehand and since, I mentioned one pled out, but everything so far, is it going the way you expected? Is it going the way that meets your satisfaction?
Yes, I mean, we knew this was going to be a lengthy process. As you recall, we took a while to put the case together, the investigation and then just the prosecutors before we filed charges. This is complex. Whenever you have 7 defendants, whenever you have multiple witnesses and you're trying to get people to cooperate and talk about what they saw, you have video, that's going to take a while. And so it's not surprising me that it's taking this long.
Last question on that. The cooperation from local law enforcement out in Gilbert and East Valley, are you seeing what you want to see? Have you seen what you wanted to see?
Yeah, I mean, this was a Queen Creek homicide, and of course they did a great job on the investigation. But Gilbert, too, we have had meetings with them to talk about the ongoing situations involving juveniles, and they've been receptive and open to that. So, we're trying to move forward so that people can feel safe in their communities. I grew up here, and I mean, to think of Gilbert as a place where people aren't feeling safe, that's just unbelievable to me.
Are you hearing that people feel a little bit more safe? I mean, are the Gilbert goons still a thing out there?
I think there's still gang-type behavior out there, and by gang types, I mean, groups of juveniles that are engaged in bad behavior. The public should know that we are aware of it. We're working with the police to address it. But parents also should know that we're taking this very seriously. And if their kid is involved in this type of behavior, it would be best for them to intervene as parents before the law has to intervene. Rachel Mitchell, Maricopa County Attorney, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the time. Thank you.